Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to. Oh, Rocky, there's something on your end, a voice, an echo. Now it's okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Now it's okay. So, welcome everybody to LinkedIn/Facebook// YouTube Live. And yes, I know it's not Monday, but that's because we are doing a special something. And we are doing this interview today with Rocky because Rocky and one of his programs just became part of our framework for freedom. And we want to explain a little bit how that came about and what it's all about. So, Rocky, maybe to start off, if you could introduce yourself a little bit, Mr. Profit Answer Man.
Sure. I'm Rocky Lalvani, and I'm in Pennsylvania. And basically, what I do is I work with small business owners and I help them to be profitable all the time. It's funny. I just assumed that business owners understood the business of business. And what I found out is that business owners love doing what they do and the way that they serve the world. Being accountants and looking at financial reports has nothing to do with that. Because of that, many of them struggle. And that's what we're here today to do, is to help you no longer struggle.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, you know, doing the business part is all about, creativity and the excitement, the adrenaline and so on. And those numbers are just so freaking boring. We have to do them, and we probably all wait until the last second to do our bookkeeping and accounting and so on. It's the most boring thing, but it's also very, very, very important, because if we don't do it in the right way, well, then we can have a lot of problems, or we pay way too much taxes and so on. So, Rocky, you created a program called Effortless Cash Flow and Profit. Can you walk us, top level a little bit through the chapters? I know that there are 11 modules, 11 chapters in the program. So we go a little bit through that, and then, we can dive into a few specific things. Oh, and by the way, let me do something. So whoever wants to check it out, I will just put the link there and make it stay there. So yeah, you can go to this link below and check it out. And of course, sign up if you need some help with everything that Rocky will be talking about now. So yeah, Rocky, the floor is lava. Take it away.
Thank you. So let's just start with something real quick. And if nothing else, just remember this: top line is vanity, bottom line is sanity, and cash flow is reality. Too many business owners focus on the top line and they say, "Oh, I just had a 7-figure launch." My first question to them is, how much did you spend? And for a lot of business owners, they don't know, or they spent just about as much as they brought in. And at the end of the day, they have very little to show for their work. We want to solve that problem. And it comes down to the last thing, is the cash flow is reality. If you don't have money to pay the rent, to pay your employees, to pay for your life, then you're going to struggle. And to me, cash flow is like air, right? If you can't breathe, nothing else matters. And so
Well,
we want
I
to
would
help.
even go as far and say that cash flow is really the king of everything, because if you don't have the cash flow, well, you don't have really anything.
And that's true. And so that is a big part of what we teach. It's a very big shift in mindset of how to look at things. So let's look at module 1. And module 1 is, and I think this is what happens for most business owners. They look at finances as too complicated. And our goal is to make it not complicated at all, to keep it as simple as possible, and to do it in a way that works for you, the business owner, not for your accountant and their fancy accounting reports that nobody reads because they're old and they're out of date and they're not forward looking. They tell you what happened yesterday. Another thing that we talk about in this chapter is just those money mindsets where we started today. You've got to shift the way that you look at money and shift the way that you behave around it. Once you can control your money and tell it where you want it to go and put it to work efficiently, well, then cash flow and your business become much more effortless. And the problem with accountants and bookkeepers is they are very good at putting your transactions where they belong in your accounting software, which is wonderful. But all of that is reporting what happened. The bigger question is, what can you do today with the cash you have to make more profits? And that's usually not a conversation that occurs with them. More often than not, the conversation occurs at tax time. Hey, you were profitable. Congratulations. Here's how much you owe in taxes, which causes business owners two main questions. Number one, where is that money that I made? And how am I supposed to pay that tax bill? I don't have any cash in the bank. We're going to fix those problems. And so that's pretty much what's in module 1. Any comments on that, Miha?
No. I mean, I can relate to so much of what you're saying when I think a little bit of, my first few business ventures. You go and do your thing day by day. And yeah, at the end of the year, your accountant tells you, oh, you made so much profit. And you're like, well, where the hell is that profit? And yeah, it was a little bit hard for me to understand how you can make profit, but you don't have any or much money in your account. And that was one of the biggest mindset shifts when I really started understanding better on where the money goes, how certain things are deductible, certain things aren't deductible, and so on. And when I implemented those lessons, I finally started seeing some cash flow in my bank accounts.
And that's basically what we're looking to solve with that first thing, is just shift the way that you're thinking. So module 2 is about certain principles that always are true. One of those is called Parkinson's Law. So invariably, when you have to do something, salesperson walks in and he says to you, well, what's your budget for this? And however much you tell him you're going to spend, that's what they will use. And that's basically what Parkinson's Law says. Businesses will use up all the resources that are given. That sales rep's also going to ask you the same question. How
Yes.
quickly do you need this? And whatever you tell them time-wise, that's what it'll take. If you say 6 months, it takes 6 months. You tell them 3 weeks, it takes 3 weeks. Time and money follow this principle.
Yeah, I remember in one of my past companies, the technical department, the moment they smelled some cash on the bank account, it was like, we need we need new computers, we need new equipment. They were spending like everything the moment they smelled that there's something left on the bank account. The list of everything that they needed was endless.
And so one of the mindset shifts we're going to do here is to pay yourself first and to take profit first, and to remove them up front, and then learn to constrain that technical department and say, sorry, you only have so much that you can spend. And more than that, when you see a bunch of money sitting in the bank account, more than likely, the money in the bank account has a purpose. It might be to pay for the cost of goods that you've already sold. It might be to make payroll. It might be to make tax payments. But if you just see this big pile of money and you haven't told that money what its purpose is, you're going to struggle and you're not going to send it where it belongs. And then too many people will come grab it.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing that's really important that I see now with a lot of my clients is that they equal business bank account with their personal bank account. They don't make the distinction. And so, I have some more money, but it's on the business account, but they're just used to taking it out of them. And then at the end of the year, they wonder why there's no money in the bank account.
Because they spent it.
Yes.
So the next module is to figure out where you are today. If I need to give you directions, I need to know where you are so that I can tell you how to get from where you are to where you're going. And so module 3 helps you figure out, where are you today? What are your costs? What are your industry benchmarks? How does that work? And what's truly money that you have to spend? And how much do you need to make in order to live your ideal life? So the first step is figuring out, where are we today and what is it that we need? And then, where do we want to go and what does that look like? And then we'll figure out how to get from where we are to where we want to go.
No, absolutely. I'm nodding. I know you can't see me because I'm this little square below you, but yeah, I'm nodding all the time and just sinking, like everything is just sinking in, and I'm like, rethinking. Oh boy, how I was doing things, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and how valuable all this information would be back then.
It's definitely valuable. It literally changes the lives of business owners. They go from struggling to profitable to effortless cash flow. And so, module 4 is implementation. It's to create a system. And when you create systems, you don't necessarily have to be the person who implements the system. You just need to oversee that whoever is doing it right. So you trust them to do the work, but you verify that it's getting done correctly. And basically, we show you how to do everything step by step to make your money flow where it should.
I'm going to stop you here because I think that this probably is the most important thing and the one thing that usually prevents fellow entrepreneurs, from transitioning to somebody else doing this stuff for them, because it's your money. Whoever you give access to your bank account, well, I think a lot of people are just afraid to let somebody else manage those things for you. So yeah, I wanted to stop here because I really think that this is a very important topic. And by the way, everybody who's watching live, or if you're watching this on the replay, just drop the comments below. We'll try to tackle them as we go through this, or we will come back to that after this live.
So just to that point that you made, in order to implement this system, you don't have to give people control of your bank account. You don't need to give them check writing authority. All you need to do is have them be able to pull transactions through your accounting software so that they know how much money has come in and where to put the money as far as it going out. So you don't need to turn over the keys to bank account. You should maintain control, because that does prevent fraud. So I just want you to feel comfortable that you don't need to give them the keys to your checkbook.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many ways now, especially with this new fintech, modern banking solutions, where you have so many different roles. People can put the transactions even in what needs to be paid, but you are the main admin, and you make the final approval, and then you can have your bookkeeper just get the statements and so on. So there's plenty of solutions out there where you can still feel safe, still be in that final control what goes out, and have other people support you in all the boring stuff that comes along with that.
So true. The next module is get rid of debt. And I ask you to say, if you didn't have debt payments, how much better would your life be? How much more money would you have? And so we show you how to eliminate debt, and we show you different methods of eliminating debt. And part of that is the compound curve, right? So money compounds, and it compounds both ways. It compounds to you becoming wealthy, or it compounds to your debt becoming a noose that you can't control. The other thing that we do is we try to remove money from your business because we want you to diversify. I want you to build alternative streams of income. I want you to look at other types of business models. So some of my clients, what they do is they use the money that's coming in from their business to buy the building. And now they pay themselves rent because they're their best tenant. Or maybe they invest in other types of real estate, or maybe they invest in other businesses, or maybe they invest in crypto. I don't know. But the point is, let's diversify your income and remove it from your business, because if things like COVID happen, or if the technology of the world changes and your business can no longer operate profitably, you have backup revenue sources that will survive through storms. And we all face storms.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm the king of failures, so I've been through the ups and the downs, and yeah, in the past, I never had those additional things coming in, and everything was just my business. And then back in 2009, when everything collapsed, I found myself $5 million in personal debt, on top of losing literally everything, my assets, my businesses, because it was all tied together. And yeah, I had that massive failure, and I lost it all overnight.
And 2009 comes around relatively often, about every 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's a business cycle. It's just life. Nothing that you did wrong. It's just the reality. But when you have those other pots, then you survive those ups and downs.
Well, yeah, I had zero foundations. That's why I'm saying, knowing what I know now and knowing what you're teaching in this program, back then, I would still have solid foundations beyond just my businesses. And like you said, I would probably be able to maneuver my way around things in a different way, and still have some money left, some assets left, some income coming in from other sources. And it would definitely make my life way easier than it was.
So true. So, module 6 is about something business owners never talk about: cutting spending. And when I look at business owners, the first thing we have is vanity spending. You spend money on something because you think you need it. One of the classics is that big pickup truck that you think you need in order to run your business, but more often than not, you don't, and your customers don't care. The other thing is spending that you didn't even realize was going out the door. You're so busy working in your business, you don't see all the leaks of money that are going on. Of course, there's necessary spending, and we need to do that appropriately. The other thing is many of your customers are negotiating with you. Who are you negotiating with? And are you negotiating better deals for your costs that you have within your business? And then we'll show you how to go line by line and look at your spending and ask yourself, is this truly relevant to my business, or are we spending more than we have to? And we also want to make sure that we're getting a return on our investments. So it's just a big deep dive into where your money is going and whether or not it's necessary. For most companies, right off the top, I found they could probably cut 10% of spending, which goes directly to your bottom line to make you more profitable.
Yeah, and you know which ones I see are the most dangerous ones? The little ones. $20 for this a month, $50 for that, and you're signed up to all this things that you are not really even using. For me, it was quite refreshing. A while ago, we changed the bank, and with new bank, we got a new credit card. And as I started getting emails, because all the services we were signed up for, they weren't able to take money from the credit card that wasn't existing anymore, and I had to change the numbers, and it really made me rethink, and I think I dropped like 1/3, if not even more, because it was really things that we had but we very rarely used, or we were paying for one service and then another one, but the first one was taking care of the other thing as well. So, we were double paying for stuff and so on. So those little things can really, really add up. And then when you multiply that with 12 and with a few years, I mean, you can get to some huge, significant money. Or just the other day, I was talking to a client of mine, and they mostly use PayPal and Stripe, and those services come with 3, 4, 5% depending on the country, and so on. And I was like, well, 3% from, I don't know, $100, that really doesn't sound too much. But when you think that you might have 10 million in revenue and you have to give 4% away just for the freaking fees, that's $400,000 every year going to that. And immediately they were like, maybe we should use bank transfers more often, because they are way, way, way cheaper, especially using some services like TransferWise or something similar.
That is so true. It's a lot of little things add up together to compound. In Module 7, we cover some of the common mistakes. And one of the things we also talk about is training your employees to cut costs, because employees are trained to spend money, and because it's not theirs, they don't care. And so it's changing their mindsets, looking at appropriately reducing costs and some of the other mistakes. Too often people see the system and they just want to go full speed ahead. And the problem is it takes time to make changes. And if you try to go full speed ahead, you will usually burn out and crash, and you won't keep using the system. So we teach you how to appropriately, step by step, make the changes and avoid some of the common mistakes that other people are making. The other thing is you have to look at dollars versus time, and you have to balance both. If you can spend $50 a month, but it saves you $500 in employee time, well, then it makes sense to spend the $50. But you've got to look at both of those. Or if you've put something in that takes up a lot of time, but doesn't give you a reward to profit, it's maybe eliminating some of the things that are doing that as well. It's a constant balance of time versus money.
Well, Rocky, how do even we business owners become a bit more excited about that? Because even when you say it, like, oh, you spend $50 and you save $500, it just smells of Excel sheets and the boring stuff and this little numbers, and you're like in the grand scheme of everything, of we conquering the world and going to Mars and so on. How crazy we entrepreneurs are. Like, how do we get excited about things like that? I think that is one of the biggest challenges.
We don't. You know what we do? We get on our phone. We call somebody in our business who's really good at looking at details and say, hey, go figure out this and cut my costs and come back with some suggestions. Delegate. That's what I tell people. You don't have to do it all yourself. You're an entrepreneur. You're not supposed to do everything in your business. You're supposed to find the best people to do this. And there are people who love to do this. Not many, but there are. Find the one in your company who likes to do this and give them the task and reward them for doing it. And get the boring off your plate.
That makes a whole lot of sense. Again, we have a few viewers on LinkedIn, a few viewers on Facebook. Not sure about YouTube. So, guys, please, ask away or share your experience with the boring numbers. How do you deal with that in your business? We would be happy to hear about that. And yeah, we will be happy to answer any questions. I mean, I know that StreamYard sometimes doesn't pull this data in, sometimes it does, but give it a try.
So next up is looking at your pricing. I think a lot of times business owners undercharge for their services and they don't realize the value that they're delivering. So we'll talk a little bit about making sure that you're appropriately pricing your items. The other thing we talk about is pools of profit. So within your organization, you may have multiple offerings or multiple products that you're selling. Which one of those offerings gives you the most profit? What we have found in looking at companies, especially large companies, and this basically follows the 80-20 rule, 20 to 30% of what you sell is highly profitable. 30 to 40% of what you sell may be unprofitable. and the rest is break even. Well, you've got to figure out what are the most profitable parts of your company and start promoting those parts of your company so that you're increasing profits without working harder. Because I don't want you to work twice as hard to make twice as much. Our goal is that you work half as much to make twice as much. And so it's figuring out appropriate pricing and where is the profit in my business. The other thing is, we may look at customers and say, hey, this customer is sucking up all our time. They're hardly paying us. Is it time to fire them? And when you've got profit, you've got the ability to do that.
No, absolutely. When you have a solid cash flow foundation, then you can more confidently do things like that. And also, when I start working with most companies, they have no idea how profitable a particular client is, what's the profitability of the employees. So they might know vague numbers, but they really don't have uh, that vision into a particular client or a particular product, and then it's hard to make decisions because it's not I know, but it's I think, I feel. And when you think and you feel, then you are way less likely to do anything because you're unsure if how you feel is really correct way. So yeah, Rocky, we are getting closer to that time limit that we set for ourselves. But yeah, I know that we have still 3 modules, so maybe I'll just leave you to take it away from here.
Sure. So the next module is managing your accounts receivables and your accounts payable. When you pay people on time, they give you discounts. Take advantage of it. Too often, what we have as entrepreneurs, we make the sale, we jump for joy, but it might be 3 months till we deliver a product. And if your customer hasn't paid you, well, you just gave away all your time and work and you haven't received a single dollar. So we'll focus on how to make sure that you are appropriately getting paid and paid on time, and also projecting your future cash flow so you know when the money is coming and making sure that it does. Every business is different. So in module 10, we talk about special types of businesses. Let's say you have to buy big, heavy equipment every year. We'll handle that. If you've got certain things that are unique to your business as far as cash flow, we talk about that in module 10. And then the final chapter is module 11, which is just, hey, what does the future look like when you are positively cash flowing, when you have profit? How do we know when it's coming? Then we talk a little bit more about delegating and scheduling and having the right people on your team in the right places to appropriately help you. And then also talking about how to use your accountant and your bookkeeper to create reports that you understand in a way that help you to make better financial decisions. And so they've got all the numbers. They shouldn't be giving it to you in their format. They should be giving it to you in your format in a way that's easy for you to understand and see the trends within your business. And that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah. And maybe just to mention that there are 2 options. So one is just the course, and the other one includes even a little bit support from your end if they want to choose that way. So they can have a look. There are pricing options there. And, if I look just at the course, like $497, I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer for every entrepreneur. I mean, just for all the chapters and all the value that they're getting. I think, soon you and I will need to figure out if we are not underselling this whole thing.
I was just about to say, we might need to double the price soon.
Yes, we really might. So if anybody wants to abuse the current low pricing, I mean, yes, we are introducing this whole new thing into Framework for Freedom as a whole. So yeah, check it out. The link is there. I will go back and add all the links in a clickable way in the comments on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. So everywhere, wherever you're watching this from, live, replay. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Rocky. You can reach out to me. We will be happy to answer anything. And Rocky, you and I, we will do a few more live events like this in the coming weeks and in the coming months. This was just the first one to like go high level through the whole thing, but we will pick a few different things from that and dive a little bit more into them in the future lives that you and I do together.
Cool. I look forward to it. And we'll look forward to answering any questions that came through in the chat.
Perfect. Now let me figure out. Okay, so I can pull your picture back on. So Rocky, let's do it together. We can say goodbye to everybody who's watching this. I wish you all the best, Rocky, and I'm looking forward to us continuing this this whole journey together. And yeah, see you very soon again.
Thanks. See you all.